No matter who you are.
Oh, shit.
No matter what you want your life to be. You're gonna be a star.
Tomorrow's another day. Now for a beer.
Rolling like a VIP.
I'm a little scared. A bunch of smelly grown men. I don't even know where to start. I think we're in trouble. That might be the best birthday present ever. Baby wipes, gold bond. If you can't figure out why, just think about it for a little bit.
The great state of Utah was a safe haven for some of the West's most revered and feared cowboys. Butch Cassidy, Billy the Kid, and many more all set up camp at one time or another in the steep canyons throughout the state. The so-called Outlaw Trail ran from Mexico all the way to Canada and ran through most of Utah. This area was not only the perfect place to hide, but it also had a plethora of big game animals to hunt. A few years ago, I hunted for the very first time in Utah with this guy, Tanner Pinier of Western Lands Outfitters. And back then, I had the time of my life chasing mule deer around these hills with him. Now I'm back with a coveted elk tag in my pocket, I'm reunited with my buddy, and I'm praying for the same kind of luck we had last time. When I arrive in camp on my first day, I sight in my Frankies, and then we spend the evening glassing for elk. The next morning, it's game time, and the first hunt starts off with a bang as we locate several bulls right away. Unfortunately, they were a little too occupied to play our game, and shortly thereafter, things got quiet. And they stayed that way for the rest of the day, until we came upon a stark reminder of why I love this game so much. Now, it wasn't Butch Cassidy or Billy the Kid, but it was pretty darn cool for a guy like me who loves to ride horses and loves to pretend to be a cowboy once in a while. My favorite part about these hunting trips, I say it all the time, isn't the killing and it's not the hunting. It's stuff like that. Stuff that you just happen to see because you took the time to get out here. I love that. I feel just like I'm Kevin Costner for a minute in Yellowstone, only without the money and the good looks and the movie star fame. It only happens once every 4 years. It's an event that brings the world's best athletes together in one place with one goal in mind: gold. And I'm not talking about the kind of gold that you can find in the hills here. I'm talking about the gold medal you can win by being the best in the world at the Winter Olympics. In February of 2002, the Winter Olympics were held in Salt Lake City, Utah. And just a short drive from where I'm hunting is the ski town of Park City, Utah, which hosted all sorts of Olympic events at the Utah Olympic Park. So I take a break from hunting, I head over to the park, and I meet up with this guy, Cole Nordman, who's agreed to show me around. It's not every day you stand in a bobsled track.
Right, you are actually inside the track that you'll be riding down later on.
And people got gold medals and silver medals and bronze medals, and you say it every day, but this is, I can feel the gravity of this thing, especially when I look at here, the marks, the bobsled literally is on its side right here.
Up on that plane when we come through. This is curve 14 going down into low point, one of the fastest parts of the track.
And pulling 3-4 Gs, right?
At least today.
That's crazy.
Athletes in a regular 4-man bobsled will pull 5 to 6.
Unbelievable. I mean, that's fighter jet stuff.
The origin of bobsledding begins in St. Moritz, Switzerland in the early 19th century. A man named Caspar Badrut was the owner of the Palace Hotel, and he challenged wealthy tourists visiting from Victorian Britain to help him find something exciting to do in the winter months. In the 1870s, these Englishmen built a sled and traveled down the twisting, narrow streets of St. Moritz. But they found out it was pretty dangerous because they started colliding with pedestrians. So to try and keep things safe, Mr. Badrut created the first half-pipe track, now familiar at the Winter Olympics. The men's 4-man bobsled competition appeared in the first ever Winter Olympics in 1924. And the men's 2-man bobsled event was added in 1932. The tracks nowadays are made of concrete coated with ice, and they're required to have 1 straight section and 3 fast turns without a straight section. The track must be between 3,900 and 4,300 feet long and must have at least 15 curves.
You know, a lot of countries, they take these things and they build them and they have the Olympics, and then They just let them fall back
kind
to
of
rubble.
either falls apart or they take them down.
Right.
You know, they're temporary structures.
And you guys have done the opposite.
So the state legislature here in Utah set aside a certain amount of money for us before the Olympics even came here.
Right.
So as soon as we were done, it was our mission to carry on that Olympic legacy. Hence, we're the Olympic Legacy Foundation in Utah. So
I want to go for a bobsled ride.
let's do it. Let's get you on one.
Here we go.
During the 2002 Olympics, the Utah Olympic Park was home to ski jumping and the Nordic combined events, which is all really cool, but what caught my eye was the bobsled track, and Cole took me right into the belly of the beast.
All right, Nick, you ready to see your ride?
Oh, is that it?
So
I'm immediately scared. I'm gonna be honest with you. I look at this now and I go, oh, what have I gotten myself into?
4 wheels here, 4 wheels there, 16 wheels total to get us down the track. Makes it a super smooth ride.
So basically it's rollers versus skis.
Rollers
that's
versus runners. So-
Runners, that's the brake.
Yep, there's
Right
your little
there.
brake right there. Little friction pad that comes down.
And how fast do we go?
We'll go about 65 today. We'll
And that's
see.
the only thing that stops us.
Once
right
the
there.
bearings heat up, we might get a little faster than that, but we'll see.
I'm not gonna lie, we're like 30 minutes away from doing the run and I already feel like I'm gonna poop my pants.
As we load up the bobsled and take it to the top of the hill, Cole tells me that in 2002, Germany took the gold for the 4-man bobsled race, and the US took both silver and bronze. And now it's time for me to meet my pilot, whose name is Hunter, and Joseph, who gives me a safety briefing.
You're the guy.
Yep.
Nice to meet you, man.
We do ask every rider if they have any pre-existing health conditions.
I have a back problem. I'm pregnant and I have vertigo. Are those okay?
Yeah, those are fine. We recommend you don't ride if you have any of those
Dang it.
conditions.
I can cover up my nervousness with all the stupid jokes I want, but when the helmets came out, that's when things got serious.
Put a little balaclava on.
And now I'm feeling authentic, like a race car driver.
Use your shoulder muscles to keep your head straight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I got butterflies. I'm a little scared. Hunter, I trust you, man. You just said that's a mistake. Great. If this doesn't work out, Natalie, I love you. What have you gotten me into?
You know, I like to push people's limits.
You're doing it. This is pushing my limits right now. Oh my God. Yee!
Deep down the city, middle of the night. Watch through the disco ball with the blue flashing lights. A big amp of speakers and a stack of records. Eagles raspy voice like shock in my head. Shadows of sexy body flowing on the wall. I feel like I put my step on the dance floor for her. Deep down in the sleeping town, we're gonna tell her the night. Hey! We're gonna tell her the night. We're gonna tell her the night.
That was Hunter with a downtime of 59.17 seconds and a top speed of 71 miles per hour.
That is one of the most intense things I've ever done in my life. That's as intense as the Blue Angels ride that I went on. It's unbelievable. And what's crazy to think about is how what we're doing there, the guys that do it on the ice are doing it 20 miles an hour faster, right?
20, 25, yeah, our top speed's over 88 miles an hour.
Unbelievable. I mean, I don't understand how you can even process how that's all coming so fast. Oh, I just want,
You did awesome, dude.
all I want to do is do it again now. I want to do it again.
Rewind.
I want to do it again. Woo!
It's one thing to ride a bobsled and pretend for a second that you're an Olympian, but it's an entirely different thing to meet a gold medalist in person. So before I get back to hunting, my next stop is at the Salt Lake City Olympic Oval in search of one of the heroes of the 2002 Winter Olympics in Salt Lake City.
He helped carry the World Trade Center flag in the opening ceremony. Then the next day, watched the Stars and Stripes from the podium. Derek Parra kick-started American speed skaters with a surprise silver in the 5,000. Now, today in his specialty, he hopes to continue his inspiring Olympic journey.
In February of 2002, Derek Parra won silver and gold and set a world record on his home turf in front of his hometown crowd. But I learned that he had a long journey to the top.
Did you set out to do that? Did you always know you wake up and every morning when you were a kid and go, I'm going to be a gold medalist?
I grew up in Southern California, Mexican-American kid. Parents were divorced. I played stickball in the streets. Went to school and played in recess every day. That was kind of my life. When I was about 14, I went to a roller rink. There was a 2-lap race. Got smoked by everybody there because I had the rental skates on.
Yeah.
But I was hooked on speed skating. I hooked on racing on skates.
Yeah.
Derek was born and raised in San Bernardino, California, and he grew up just like every other red-blooded American kid, although apparently he smiled a lot more than most, and continued that normal childhood until he discovered speed skating on wheels instead of ice. And that new passion eventually saw him becoming the best in the world on inline skates. And when you're the best in the world at something, there's only one more place you can go that's higher than that.
I had these Olympic dreams of going to the Olympics as a roller speed skating athlete, but I had to switch over to ice speed skating because that was the closest thing, and it was already an Olympic sport. So that changed the direction of my life when I was 26 years old, and then it became a really tough climb to get there in 6 years.
You know, when we talk about 2002, there was a lot more that was happening than the Olympics. We're talking just a few months after September 11th. I'd love to hear you tell a little bit about what it felt like to represent your country during that time.
And the night before the opening ceremonies, I get a call from a guy named Greg Harney with the U.S. Olympic Committee telling me that I've been voted as one of the 8 athletes to carry the World Trade Center flag in the open ceremonies, and if I would be interested. Here we go. And as if by design, that opportunity was there for me, and I said, without a hesitation, I said yes. So that night I went out on the opening ceremony stage. I had a flag with 7 other athletes. It was the most emotional, spiritual experience of my life. At the end of the national anthem, there was a gust of wind blowing the flag out of our hands, and to me, it was the breath of those victory. And I heard them say to me, "We are with you. You know, go forward and show the world what you can do." And I went home that night, stayed in a house just about a mile from here, in what we called our safe house. Came back the next day and skated the most amazing race of my life, the 5,000 meter. I wasn't ever top 10 in that race. I skated a world record and briefly held it and got a silver medal. But that, I was so inspired. Everywhere I felt I went on the ice that day, there was a warm pocket of air.
Yeah.
Someone was there with me.
And the time for Parra here is, he did a world record, so he returns the favor.
Derek Parra.
So what's that feel like when you're there? You're the guy, you're watching your flag and they're playing your anthem at home.
We went out there and I remember standing on the podium, seeing the predominantly US crowd, and then I kind of was a blur. I heard the woman speaking French.
Mesdames et messieurs, veuillez vous lever pour l'hymne national des États-Unis d'Amérique.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of the United States of America.
Saying my name and the Olympic medal and announcing the national anthem. So at that point, I take my hat off, I look at the distance and I see the American flag being raised just a little bit higher than the other 2 flags. And as the national anthem played on, it started to spread.
Everybody started singing.
And I could feel it. And in my peripheral vision, I could see all the mouths move in unison, and I could feel the volume of their voices on my chest. And I looked up, I blinked my eyes, and at that moment I saw all the faces of those people that helped me get there. But my Olympic moment was standing on that podium with the medal around my neck and seeing everybody who helped me get there, and it truly proved to me that I was not there alone.
And when Derek's talking about the people who helped get him there, he's not just talking about his teammates or his coaches. He's also talking about the victims of 9/11. To put it in perspective, the 2002 Olympics happened just 5 months after the terrible events of September 11th. And Derek skated the race of his life in honor of them. Like he said, he truly felt like he wasn't alone. And luckily, we have people like Derek Parra that will make sure that they're never forgotten.
Derek Parra.
There is something completely magical about talking with a bull elk at first light, but it's even more magical when it's your birthday.
It's my birthday, September 18th. We've already got 4 bulls bugling. We're moving already. It's gonna be a good day, I can feel it.
Utah undisputedly has some of the best elk hunting in the world. And while it may be true that of all the elk hunting states in the western U.S., Utah just happens to rank number 7 with around 70,000 elk, it does lay claim to some pretty awesome bragging rights of having grown the world record Rocky Mountain elk ever taken by a hunter. In 2008, Denny Ousted took a bull elk in the Monroe Mountain unit that had over 500 inches of antler measurement. Now today, I'm definitely not looking for any sort of world record or anything like that, and honestly, on my birthday, I'm just happy to be out here, and just about any mature bull elk would put a smile on my face, the same way that this young bull that we called in did.
That might be the best birthday present ever. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. Archery range, a beautiful bull. After 2 days of hunting hard, that was awesome.
I will argue all day long that hunting bugling elk is one of the funnest and most exciting things that you can do with your clothes on. Just seeing a mature bull gets your heart pumping, but when you call to one and it screams back at you, well, for me, it doesn't get any better than that. Especially when it's your birthday and that bull you start talking to turns out to be a shooter, well, then your heart starts really pounding. This bull may have been screaming back at us, but the problem was that he had a lot of cows with him and he wasn't about to leave them, and he was out of range. So when he started to move, so did we. The bull and the cows move closer and closer. Just another 100 yards and he'll be in range. Although that shot wasn't exactly what I wanted, it did exactly what I intended. The bull falls just a few yards away in the brush, and we begin the long walk down, grab frame packs, and walk up on one of the best bulls of my life.
Are you kidding me? Dude, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for working hard.
Wow. This will never get old. As many times as I've hunted all over the place, there's something about the West. There's something about elk. And there's something about doing it with good friends. That's what hunting's all about.
Amen.
Look at me, I'm getting emotional.
Thanks.
Thank you, dude. And now, the work begins.
I'm a lucky guy who gets to do what he loves for a living. And I guess I would consider myself to be successful, not only on this hunt, but in my life in general. But I've been reminded on this trip that no level of success comes without hard work. Take Derek Parra, for example. He spent most of his life dedicated to the work it took to be #1 at a sport, only to start over in another sport and work his way all the way to a gold medal.
It was Alcohol who set the world record and stole the gold from Parra at the 5,000, and the time for Parra here is, he did a world record!
I've learned that pure sweat equity, hard work, and determination can make anything possible. I was 16 years old when I left home to chase my music dream, and hard work led me exactly where I wanted to be. And my hunting career has been no different. Now here I am packing out my first ever Utah elk, and I wouldn't be doing that without the hard work of Tanner Pinier, who spent his entire life putting in the work it takes to become one of the best guides I've ever worked with. Sure, a little bit of luck is great, and I've certainly had my share of it. But whenever I want to count on my luck, I remember a great quote from Thomas Jefferson, who once famously said, "I'm a great believer in luck, and I find that the harder I work, the more I have of it." I may never be a gold medalist, but I can tell you for certain that in this life I'm living, I sure feel like one.